What we're now seeing is, and guys, get the clip ready, we're now seeing how it's impacting our economy. There are estimates saying that we are moving towards a recession. Maria Bartiromo literally asked Donald Trump about that. Now, remember, this is the same guy who before, when the stock market, guys, get the clip. When the stock market was doing well, Congo, Trump said, oh, it was because of him. But now the stock market is doing awful, and he's saying, oh, it's because of Biden. Now he's saying, you know what? Let's stop looking short term. We should be thinking about the next 100 years. And so then Trump's national economic advisors said, oh, no, there's not going to be a recession. Well, then Trump, in the interview with Maria Bartiromo, we're going to play for you the clip in a bit, then he wouldn't commit to the recession. Here's what we know. The last 3 Republican presidents put the economy into recession. They were bailed out by Democratic presidents. Numbers don't lie. President George H.W. Bush, President George W. Bush, and Donald Trump, 3 Republicans, put the American economy, drove it into a recession. President Barack Obama, President Bill Clinton, President Barack Obama, and President Biden all pull America out of a recession. And it's idiotic for these people who voted, who actually said, oh, yeah, we think that Trump is going to be better on the economy than Vice President Kamala Harris. Well, it didn't take them long to wreck what was the only economy that recovered the best of all industrialized nations in the world than under Biden Harris. But these idiots are already destroying it. And remember, Elon Musk said, we must all accept some early pain. Well, yeah, that's easy when you got billions of dollars.
You know, one of the things I posted today was Trump is basically running what had happened was a economy. He always puts something out, and then when it doesn't work, he's like, well, there's this. Oh, well, I put up the tariffs, but now I have to drop it because I didn't want to hurt Mexico and Canada. Oh, well, the stock market. And now, let's do it like China, wait 100 years. I mean, seriously, this was a guy who said he's going to bring down the price of, quote unquote, the grocery, right? It was all about the eggs. Look, this man, and this is the thing that also bothers me, Roland, is that people act like he wasn't president before. Like he didn't tank the economy before, even outside of what was happening with COVID. And this man is at Mar-a-Lago every weekend. This man is running up taxpayer dollars every weekend while destroying the economy. There's no single policy that he has implemented that has helped any poor person, any struggling person, anybody with any type of challenge. He's only making more cuts. Look what's happening with the Department of Education. And he's only going to make it worse. Furthermore, when you look at what's happening as it relates to the stock market, this was a man who said, if the stock market drops, the president should be impeached. But now all of a sudden the stock market doesn't matter. So what we're seeing with this man is, and it hasn't even been 2 months, Roland. It hasn't even been 2 months. And if people aren't going to be waking up to this now, I'm right here in the DMV. Like I'm seeing it every single day. You're seeing it, Roland, like Kelly, all of us are seeing it. What's happening? People losing their jobs, losing their homes. Last time we did a report, there was almost 10,000 houses on the market right now. People pulling their kids out of schools. I'm seeing my college students, worrying about whether they're going to finish this semester. Chaos is the point because this man is a chaos agent. So I applaud the Maryland attorney for doing this. And it's interesting that red states are probably going to suffer the most, but no Republican district state attorneys are going to be behind this effort.
Oh, no, absolutely not. And so, what's crazy, Kelly, is they don't care. And I'm just sitting here saying, South Carolina and all the rest of y'all screwed. Oh, MAGA, y'all screwed. And Kelly, don't you find it interesting that all of a sudden the price of eggs really doesn't matter? Oh, by the way, the Trump Justice Department is now looking into egg companies for price fixing. Hello? Hashtag we tried to tell you. And so all of these idiots out here who voted for these people under the guise of that, the economy was going to get better. This man is literally driving us into recession. And they're trying to say, it was really all Biden. And so we have it. So here's this idiot, the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief con man, Donald Trump. This is how he answered that nutcase Maria Bartiromo on Fox Business.
And I want to ask you about Ukraine and the blow up the other day with Zelensky. Let me stay on the economy for a moment, because there are rising worries about a slowdown. You've got the Atlanta Federal Reserve saying we're going to have a contraction in the first quarter. Look, I know that you inherited a mess, and you said that the other night.
I've only been here,
but are you expecting a recession this year?
I hate to predict things like that. There is a period of transition, because what we're doing is very big. We're bringing wealth back to America. That's a big thing. And there are always periods of, it takes a little time. It takes a little time. But I think it should be great for us. I mean, I think it should be great. It's going to be great ultimately for the farmer. You know, don't forget,
Lying, Kelly. They're lying. They did not inherit a mess. It's a lie. It's a flat out lie.
And I was just saying this, I swear, not even an hour before this show happened. I told one of my colleagues, I said, I feel like stupid people need to feel pain every time they say something dumb. Or like there needs to be like a 1-to-1 ratio correlation between how dumb you are and how much pain you receive. Because I feel like if you felt the pain points, like actual pain receptors, every time you did something dumb or you said something stupid, I feel like natural selection would take its course a lot more quicker. That aside, we know this game, right? We know that this man is a liar. We know this man is a cheat. He is literally the descendant of grifters and criminals. He doesn't know much else. He's only been mentored by grifters and criminals and con men. This is all he knows how to do. So it doesn't surprise me that he's lying. It doesn't surprise me in any of these things, like the headline says, we tried to tell you. We really, really did. And it is frustrating that everybody has to find out just because a couple people fucked around. I think I said that the last time I was on your show, but it is so unfortunate that people like myself and my panelists and you, Roland, have to experience yet another recession because people were frankly afraid of a Black woman running this country.
Oh, absolutely. And you're going to love this one here. So, Mondale, check this out. So, Stephen Moore, okay, who wrote a book called Trumponomics, and he's been rah, Donald Trump. Listen to this fool.
But we have seen a little bit of market upset. What is your perspective on the way forward?
Well, you used the word complicated, and that's exactly what it has been over the last week, Katie, where one day the tariffs are going to go up, and then there's going to be a delay in the tariffs, and then there's going to be a tariff on another country, and it's been up and down and up and down. And by the way, the stock market went up and down with these things. I think that the president's emphasis on tariffs right now is misguided. I think we have a very wobbly economy. We saw a not very good jobs report on Friday. The consumer confidence numbers are sinking, and other indicators are not positive. The economy needs a pick-me-up, and tariffs are not a pick-me-up. What is the Trump tax cut. Congress has to get this passed as soon as possible by Memorial Day. That will provide the stimulus the economy needs.
Yeah, because if they don't get the cut, it's going to be a tax hike for everybody who got it in the first place. One of the biggest.
Listen to these idiots. First and foremost, okay, gonna have tariffs, not gonna have tariffs, gonna have tariffs, not gonna have tariffs, only because when he sees drop, the stock market dropped today 1,000 points. NASDAQ lost 4%, the biggest drop since 2022. No, we've long said that the stock market is not the only economic indicator. But the bottom line is this here. It's a yo-yo effect because you've got these yo-yos who are in charge. They're just cutting stuff willy-nilly. And so we're seeing the effects of it. And so Kelly talked about pain. It's about to be a whole bunch of red state white folk who are going to be in pain, screaming left and right because of these cuts. And then we as Black people, we should all say, we tried to tell you.
Yeah, but listen, you know, the nature of Black people is we try to tell you people. We'll say it, but we still gonna reach our hand back and try to help people out. That's what we've been doing for this country since we got here.
I'm petty. I'm petty. I am a we tried to tell you dumbasses. I'm gonna throw some cuss words in there, and so I am. So I'm petty like that. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be petty, but we still gonna get somebody a couch if they need it. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the poor
Do
black
we?
community, yeah, we do. I think that's
right.
what make black. I mean, that's that, and I'm not saying that our resilience.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, ain't nobody MAGA getting in my couch.
Proverbial couch, Roland. Proverbial couch. You ain't got the house. But I'm the house of America.
No. Let me be real clear. Ain't nobody MAGA getting near my proverbial, my hypothetical, or my literal couch.
Listen, y'all, Roland, stop it. Yes, he is. Roland cares about democracy, and he understands even when fools vote against
I
their own
don't give a damn about MAGA.
Damn it, Roland.
I don't give a damn
You're not
about
gonna
MAGA.
win. You're not gonna win. It's not gonna happen.
Give a damn.
Give it up.
I don't give a damn about MAGA. I'm telling you now.
Let me get on Elon Musk because Roland is petty. listen, Elon Musk has promised these crazy ass people, he's gonna cut $2 trillion from the American budget. I want to know how you plan on doing that. And if you think firing the federal workers is going to get you there, you're an idiot who don't understand anything. Because only $400 billion, and that's if you fire all federal workers and all their benefits and all those people who are retired, you still are way short. I can tell you how we can do it. We cannot do what Stephen Moore just said we need to do. We cannot give another Trump tax cut that added $4.6 trillion to our deficit. We cannot do that and think it's going to work. We've already seen the ideal of trickle-down economy has never, and that is not an exaggeration of that word, it's never worked for the majority people. The people who benefit from that situation when you give them tax cuts and breaks and think they're going to invest it back in the economy, those people are already wealthy. There are people like Elon Musk who gets $8 million a day from the federal government. And we're not investigating that. We're investigating monies around Social Security, the most vulnerable people who work their entire life and living off an average of $64 a day is what we're investigating. Not the fact that contractors like Elon Musk and the Defense Department can't even pass a damn audit. People like Elon Musk seeing the most private and sacred secrets of this country without a security clearance, jeopardizing, and we don't know who he's meeting with in other countries because he won't report that. But people beneath him are saying he's having these meetings. So while Elon Musk continue to data mine, because that's what he's doing with the federal government, data mine for his own riches, we're making poor Americans even poorer. And white people and black Republicans are going along with it. And now they can't even sleep on rolling couch.
No, they can't. I'm telling y'all right now, okay. If I see a MAGA person struggling to lift a suitcase on the plane, I ain't getting up. I'm gonna tell you right now, okay. I don't give a damn about MAGA. MAGA can go to hell as far as I'm concerned. And see, I am so sick and tired, Kelly, of these people saying, well, no, we need to be talking. I ain't got shit to say to them. I'm not talking to them. I'm not dealing with them. I ain't looking at them. I'm just going to sit here and say, you fools chose to wreck the country. Y'all chose to wreck the economy. Y'all want to blame everything on DEI. Well, guess what, Elon? Was it DEI the reason your shitty rockets blew up, causing 240 flights to be delayed over Florida and the rest of the country? Is it, hey, Elon, is it DEI when the hackers shut down Twitter today, causing a massive outage? And now this fool is sitting here trying to blame Ukraine when it wasn't Ukraine. It was Dark Storm. They took credit for it. Hey, Elon, can you blame DEI for your Tesla stock being down 50% since election day? No, because it's your punk ass. So I'm telling you right now, Kelly, I don't give two shits about MAGA.
And you shouldn't. You shouldn't. I'm not the one to. I'm not going to be like Mondale and be the bigger person here. I'm already a big person. I can't be any bigger. That's just not going to happen.
I'm not being the bigger person. I'm down 20 pounds since January 7th. Fuck.
Amen. I'm gonna get on your level one day when I feel like it. Amen. But to your point, To your point, I would push back on what you said a little bit in that they chose, what they chose. I think they chose themselves, right? They thought that they would be immune to this. They thought that, oh, Trump's going to do that to other people and I'm going to be okay because I voted for him. Oh, Trump's going to deport that Hispanic person, that immigrant because I am a different immigrant and I'm going to vote for Trump so that he can protect me. He don't know you. He don't know any of us, except the people who line his pockets, like Elon Musk and these other billionaires that are, now secretaries of whatever, right? So on that note, they still can't have my couch. I'm still not going to, help them out because at the end of the day, we tried to tell you, we gave you fact after anecdote, after parable, after real Bible verses. Let's be clear about that. Everything. We threw the kitchen sink at y'all and we had evidence from the previous administration that he held. We had evidence of his bad leadership from the last time he was president, and y'all wanted more because you're like, oh, this time it's going to be different. And that is what is frustrating me. It's like the willful ignorance, the selective remembering of what went down. It's like people really still to this day believe that Donald Trump is a better president because they got a check during COVID. Right? It's these small things that end up in a vote that we didn't get because they decided that Trump was better for whatever reason.
On Congo, I'm telling you right now, ain't no God. First of all, the only red hats I allow in my house is if you're a Delta. I don't even let Kappas come in my house. But if you think for a second, somebody with a Make America Great Again hat, and now they trying to change the colors to black and white and black and gold, man, y'all change that shit to pink and green.
Oh no.
It can be blue and gold. Y'all can try every D9 color y'all want to. I don't give a damn about Make America Great Again. And see, right now, I'm serious. Right now, I have little patience for racist white folks. Because earlier today, man, I was sitting there, so I took a 3.5 mile walk where I am with my twin nieces and my wife and dude. So I had my Texas A&M hat. And y'all may have seen me post this on Instagram. I had a Texas A&M hat on, some shorts and a shirt. Because see, when I travel, I pack easy. All my shit match. That way, we ain't trying to sit here and bring no 4-5 different pair of shoes. We ain't going through all that. So homeboy gonna come up to me. He gonna ask me, was I a fan or did I play? Now, I knew what he was asking. I made his ass repeat. I said, what you say? He says, well, which way? Are you a fan or did you play? I said, no, I'm a graduate. Now walk my ass off. See, I got no patience for these damn fools and their microaggressions. So he couldn't see me as a graduate. I either had to be a fan of Texas A&M or had to play ball there. I mean, I ain't playing shit, But again, I got no time for these people. I got no time. I got no patience, and I'm not trying to help them out. I'm not trying to sit here and offer them all this stuff. How we need to just talk to them and reason with them. No. When you chose to screw this all up, when you chose to act a damn fool, when you chose to say the hell with the black people and the hell with everybody else, So if y'all get laid off, so for instance, y'all got that video of the white woman holding up her big old Trump flag and her punk ass got laid off. I got no sympathy for her. Matter of fact, I hope she lives in a state where they have cut unemployment benefits.
Damn.
Well,
I mean, wow. Damn, I wasn't expecting that last part.
Again, though, see, they want to cut everything. They want to cut unemployment benefits. They want to cut Medicaid. They want to cut everything. Okay, so if your ass gets sick and die, Don't send me a GoFundMe because y'all voted for it. See, that's what I'm saying. They want to see it. All these MAGA people, these bitches, oh my God, I voted for Trump 3 times. I had 3 tours of duty. You didn't pay attention when that fool was there last time? You ignored all that bullshit he said about grabbing women by the vagina? You ignored all that. You ignored January 6th. I don't feel for you getting fired. I don't feel for you because you did it to your damn self. Go ahead, I'm a Congo.
No, I feel you. And, you know, a lot of these MAGA folks, the reason why I don't trust them is for all of the things you laid out. But even all of those guys who are like, yeah, I voted for him 3 times in a row, I got fired, I didn't expect this, and so on and so forth. If he cuts them any type of check or gives them any type of benefit, or one of his senators or governors are able to get some type of exemption, they're going to be right back on the bandwagon. And so until they get out there and do some real action, some real change, they should not be trusted. And many of them are looking for that. What was Elon Musk in that meeting allegedly, said, if people have a problem, they can call me up and we can talk about exemptions and the like. Everybody ain't got their number. Everyone got Elon or Trump's number. And so these guys who are out there, MAGA, losing their job, losing their school, about to lose a lot of the resources that they're getting in schools as well. I'll come back to the Department of Education. They are the ones that need to step up in their own communities, because people were talking about when Kamala was running, we need to reach out to Republicans. We need to embrace all of them. And everybody kept talking about trying to embrace people that did not want to embrace us and still have no desire to embrace us in any way, shape, or form. And so they got to do the work in their spot if they really mad, because I don't trust them. And no one has a reason to trust them, because as soon as Trump throws out some other type of code word or something else, they're going to be right back in line with him.
Listen. I've been trying not to cuss. So let me just give, before I go to Monday, just give y'all a warning. Just go ahead and turn your audio down for about 10 seconds. Okay. So just turn your audio down. I've been trying not to cuss, but people really getting on my damn nerves. They really getting on my nerves with this book, with this nonsense. So I'm gonna do a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Turn your audio down. There's a line from Harlem Nights that I love the most, Mondale, when Red Fox says, "Man, fuck y'all." That's how I feel about all of these Trump voters who getting fired and losing their jobs. I don't care. I'm tired of these people. These people chose this. They chose the violence. They chose the hatred. They chose to overlook. They chose the racism. They chose all of that. And I don't have any sympathy for them. I hope they go broke. I hope they lose everything. I hope they go bankrupt. I hope they get evicted, because they chose this. There was an option. They said, to Kelly's point, nah. We don't want the black woman. We don't want the woman who was the vice president along with the president who saved the economy. No, let's go back to the fool who tanked the economy. Let's go back to him. So let's choose that fool who tried to overthrow the government. Let's do that. So yes, I don't have any sympathy for any of these MAGA people, these farmers who are now losing billions of dollars from USAID, the soybean crops. I don't feel sorry for any of them. What did I say, Mondale? And I meant it. Every time they cry, I'm just going to go play Scarface's No Tears.
No tears. Listen, I'm from a long history of understanding white people. White people have, for the longest time, been willing to sell out themselves just to ensure that black people don't get parity, right? My mother is of the generation where they closed down public schools because they had to integrate them. So rather than send their kids to school, they just shut them all down. So there was no school. These people are used to this. White people, and after the Bacon Rebellion did the same thing. Because their idea of whiteness was created, because they could still get married, because they were from places where Christian grandfathers allowed them citizenship into this country, they were willing to let black people go into slavery for hundreds of years, because they still were going to be poor. They still weren't going to have shit. They were okay with it because they still were going to be white. So keeping with the Harlem Night movie, Roland, just like you said, Red Fox said, just like they said about Red Fox, your blind ass can't see shit. And it's because whiteness makes them blind.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. And right now we're accepting investors in our $17 million round to revolutionize the future of social media. Today, for just $399, you can own 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. While the big platforms have grown too massive and disconnected from their users, Fanbase is building a platform where creators and users truly come first. We've already raised $4.8 million from everyday investors who believe in this vision, and now you can join them. This is your chance to invest in a social media tech company with over 1 million users that is disrupting media by allowing anyone to reach all of their following and monetize their content from day one. The market is changing, big platforms are failing to serve their users, and Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now. Invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the future of social media.
What the hell happened to the economy for the second time this week? Stock market tumbles in a huge way. Donald Trump is throwing out tariffs when it comes to steel, all sorts of stuff. Now folks are talking about a recession is on the way. Inflation is hitting hard. Prices are still up. He's laying off people contributing to unemployment claims. But I thought he was supposed to be so brilliant, so smart, and so amazing. He was doing so much better on the economy than Vice President Kamala Harris. Well, guess what? Hashtag we tried to tell you. And these idiots with the Trump administration, they say all of the pain that we're enduring is part of this so-called detox period to reset the economy. Literally, yesterday, Trump told reporters that a recession would be an unfortunate but necessary step to an all-out depression. Then you got House Speaker Mike Johnson standing by Trump insisting that this is really just a strategy.
I believe that the policies that we're putting forth are going to improve the economy and bring down costs for people. It takes a little while. We're in a transition period between Bidenomics and the disastrous economy that the previous administration left us. And it takes a while for these policies to be ingrained. We're going to codify this with the reconciliation process and the bills coming forward.
Well, Democratic House Leader Hakeem Jeffries says we're absolutely headed for a Republican recession.
I thank the distinguished gentlelady for her tremendous leadership and for yielding. I don't really understand the fatal attraction reference, because if anyone is dealing with fatal attraction, it's between President Trump and House Republicans. As soon as he says jump, your only answer is how high. It doesn't matter whether you are hurting the American people. That's why House Republicans are marching the country on a track toward the largest Medicaid cut in American history. You hurt children, hurt families, hurt Americans with disabilities, hurt seniors, close nursing homes and close hospitals. When Donald Trump says jump, extreme MAGA Republicans say how high. That's the fatal attraction. That's hurting the people of the United States of America. And by the way, the core promise that you made last year was about lowering costs. All you talked about was how you were going to lower the high cost of living. Democrats believe that America is too expensive. Housing costs are too high. Grocery costs are too high. Child care costs are too high. Utility costs are too high. And insurance costs are too high. America is too expensive. We believe that that, in fact, is the case. But Republicans have done nothing to lower the high cost of living. No bill, no executive order, no administrative action. That's the broken promise. We were told by President Trump that costs were going to go down on day one. Grocery prices haven't gone down, they've gone up. Inflation is up. You know what's going down? The stock market. Because President Trump and House Republicans are crashing the economy in real time and marching us to a possible Republican recession. That's what's confronting the American people.
Well, folks, critics say skyrocketing prices, trade war tensions, job losses hitting the nation left and right is causing the problem. But this idiot Trump, he just keeps blaming Joe Biden for this economic catastrophe and promising to make America affordable again. Morgan Harper, Director of Policy and Advocacy at the American Economic Liberties Project, joins us right now. Morgan, this is hilarious, but it's also shameful. So, correct me if I'm wrong, Trump, when the stock market was going up under Biden-Harris, Trump took credit. Now it's going down. Now he's blaming Biden for that. No, it's his policies, his actions that are absolutely tanking the economy.
Yeah, it's pretty undeniable at this point that a lot of the uncertainty that he's injected into the economy with changing trade policy overnight, changes that in typical times might take, a couple months to work through, a few months. And not to say that longer is better, but some of this stuff is complicated and understanding all the impacts of it takes time. He's not really operating like that. He, I think just today, introduced and rolled back a new tariff on Canada in response to their retaliatory tariff. So this is creating a perfect storm of uncertainty that is impacting the stock market directly, like you noted. We see companies that are now predicting that they are not going to have very strong growth or a lot of consumer demand over the next few months. Because what are consumers doing too, in addition to businesses, kind of looking at all of this and it's like, I don't know if I want to make any moves at all because we have no idea how much our assets might be valued at if you are in that position. Even if you're on Medicaid, for example, if you're going to continue to be covered by that. And let's be real, a lot of people who are working are also on Medicaid. And so there's just uncertainty abounds. And this is a really bad situation for the economy and the country overall in terms of the impacts of this.
Again, Morgan, what is unbelievable is that they repeatedly tried to blame Biden for it, and they act as if the tariffs don't matter. I'm sorry. The Federal Reserve was projecting that we were going to see a 3% increase in GDP. Because of Trump's actions, the massive cuts, what Doge is doing, the crazy actions of Elon Musk, these ridiculous tariffs, okay, and him trying to convince us. Like, it's unbelievable. We're going to play a clip for you of an Associated Press reporter asking White House Press Secretary, the idiot Carolyn Leavitt, about tariffs. And he literally is trying to convince us, no. Tariffs, they're going to pay. We're going to make billions, trillions off of tariffs. I mean, it is the dumbest thing, and these MAGA Republicans are falling in line knowing it's a lie.
Go ahead.
Thanks, Caroline.
You're welcome.
If we could just step back for a second. When President Trump last addressed the BRT when he was on the campaign trail, his big push was on tax cuts. He's going there today as he's proposing tax hikes in the form of tariffs. And I'm curious why he's prioritizing that over the tax cuts.
He's actually not implementing tax hikes. Tariffs are a tax hike on foreign countries that, again, have been ripping us off. Tariffs are a tax cut for the American people. And the president is a staunch advocate of tax cuts. As you know, he campaigned on no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, no taxes on Social Security benefits. He is committed to all three of those things, and he expects Congress to pass them later this year.
I'm sorry, have you ever paid a tariff? Because I have. They don't get charged on foreign companies, they get charged on the importers.
And ultimately, when we have fair and balanced trade, which the American people have not seen in decades, as I said at the beginning, revenues will stay here, wages will go up, and our country will be made wealthy again. And I think it's insulting that you're trying to test my knowledge of economics and the decisions that this president has made. I'm now regret giving a question to the Associated Press. Mary, go.
Morgan, that's crazy.
So, yeah, well, there's a lot to unpack here. I mean, like I've said a couple of times, Roland, tariffs are an important tool to make sure that we have balanced trade. Tariffs, when part of an overall economic policy strategy that includes things like domestic investment in industrial policy, in building up incentives for domestic manufacturing to have companies want to build things in the U.S., can be a very successful strategy. What we are seeing here is not that. It's very scattershot. It's changing all the time, like we talked about. And it is importantly not paired with any sort of industrial policy strategy. That is not even on the table. I mean, it appears it's not on the table because it conflicts politically with where this administration wants to be landing on an environment where they're really trying to advocate for more government spending. But regardless of what the motivation is, the reality is when not paired with any sort of industrial policy, it's a recipe for increasing prices. Now, that is not to say, though, that tariffs as a tool wholesale are bad. The other thing I would note is, this idea that we're going to somehow make back all of the revenue that might be lost due to an extension of the tax cuts through tariffs is not something that I think a lot of folks agree with. I mean, continuing the tax cuts is going to lead to a big reduction in revenue. We have a lot of people, like we've talked about, that have unpredictable job situations right now. We have a lot of uncertainty in the economy. So somehow this idea that by putting these tariffs on companies, this is going to generate the revenue, even if, which is possible, that they do absorb some of the increase of the tariff costs themselves directly without passing on to the consumer. It's possible. It's just unlikely to be, a complete wholesale equivalent there with the tax cuts that are to come. So, this trade policy stuff can be kind of complicated. There's a lot to sort through, but the bottom line is chaotic trade policy is no recipe for bringing down costs for Americans or supporting American manufacturing and workers. There is a way to do that, but this is not it.
Well, and again, as we sit here and examine all of these actions, you take what they're doing to the IRS. Republicans were opposed to the hiring of additional IRS agents to target wealthy individuals. And so Elon Musk and Doge, they are firing many of those auditors. Guess what? That's going to lead to less revenue. And again, these idiots keep saying they want to put money in the pockets of Americans. Well, when you want to obliterate the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, guess what that means? Oh, you're taking money out of the pockets of regular, ordinary people and just handing it over to corporations who are simply going to just do more stock buybacks. When Donald Trump and the Republicans pushed through this tax cut 4 years ago, he was like, oh no, these companies are going to be using that money for wages. The companies are like, no, we're not. They made it clear they were going to be using it for stock buybacks. It added $8 trillion to the deficit. So I don't know where any of these people went to school. This ain't even trigonometry. This ain't geometry. It ain't algebra. It's just basic ass math.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm glad you mentioned the CFPB because that's a great example again of what even if you were trying to believe in, oh, we should be doing these things through Congress and not rulemaking. Let's take, for example, like the CFPB rule to limit overdraft fees. This is a fee that often gets slapped on consumers when they they try to withdraw more money than their bank account has available. Banks, financial institutions have made a lot of money off of those fees over the years, and this past CFPB under the Biden administration did implement a rule to limit just how much those fees could be. There's a loophole in the law. And the congressional Republicans have now introduced what's called a CRA, Congressional Review Act, to roll back that law. Or roll back that rule, I should say. They're not introducing any sort of companion bill that would make that policy final and permanent if you believe in, oh, this should just be the authority of Congress. They're just taking away the rule that provided some protection to consumers. That's another thing that could raise prices. Another example out of the CFPB, I mean, there's a lot of examples, unfortunately, preventing the CFPB from being able to prosecute payments companies, online payments companies. They might be engaging in fraudulent activity and losing consumers' money. Similarly, trying to roll that back in Congress. Every congressional Republican except for one, so far it's only been on the Senate side except for one, voted for that. And there's no plan for covering that market. So there's a lot of vulnerabilities that are being created through this policymaking. Again, if there was sincerity in trying to actually solve problems, then we would be seeing some bills introduced, but that has not been happening. And it's very concerning. And so where we go from here is pretty unpredictable, but there are a lot of signs that are pointing to a bad economic situation or further weakening in the economy and a bad economic situation for a broader swath of Americans.
Don't you also find it just utterly ridiculous, Morgan, where Trump now all of a sudden, how they're now saying, well, no, I think we have to, go through this pain. We must because we need to do this reset. There was just too much government spending, and so this reset is necessary. What the hell are they talking about?
Well, look, yeah, I mean, again, there's a way to go about making the government more efficient. And I've been a government employee. A lot of folks who have worked in government, I think that we could all put our heads together and think about some ways to make things more efficient. P.S., probably a lot of people who have worked at large corporations could say the same thing, but, that's a whole other conversation. This isn't about doing the thing that's most efficient. It's been a lot of scattershot and fast-moving decisions that are just stripping away the ability for the government to really do its job to protect a lot of Americans and enforce the law, like the IRS, for example, that you mentioned. Again, going back to CFPB, they've withdrawn cases that were going after companies that were breaking the law, taking consumers' money. And so this does seem more of an ideological exercise, but I will say, and a political exercise, but I will say, I mean, there are real problems to solve. There is a need to take a hard look at the American economy and think through, what does it look like when so many people in our country are vulnerable to just missing one paycheck? What does it look like? We talk about the stock market as an indicator, that there's a lot of people that don't even have the ability to dream of investing in the stock market because they have no extra money to be able to look at that. So these are real problems. They are problems that we need to solve. Having a long-term strategy for our country economically, including a trade policy that's going to make sure that companies don't just get to import cheaper goods and not pay higher wages to American workers. Those are real problems, but this doesn't look to be a coherent strategy to actually solve them and make sure that we're building for the long term here and a stable financial future for Americans.
Yeah, because this strategy we're talking about here is, let's just invest billions of U.S. money into crypto. Let's just sit here and keep whacking away, and let's just stop the lawsuits against companies in the Department of Justice, at the SEC, at the CFPB. You had one Chinese national who just, let me just go ahead and buy, a bunch of millions or billions in the Trump coin, and guess what? His case magically goes away. What we are seeing is we are seeing major corporations. There was even one report that companies are paying $5 million for sit-down meetings with Trump and Mar-a-Lago. These people are grifters. They are literally trying to just steal from the government and screw everybody else. And you've got these workers, you got veterans. It's going to be a big protest happening on Friday. And to your point, how it's just willy-nilly. I mean, they fire people at the National Weather Service, and now they're trying to hire them back. They fire workers with the Centers for Disease Control. Now they're trying to hire them back. And so it's just nonsensical. And so they are creating the chaos that we are now seeing in the markets. And you've got companies like, yo, what the hell? We can't do any sort of quarterly or yearly or planning for every 2 years with the kind of just nutcase economic policy we're seeing coming out of the White House.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how could you possibly predict how you're going to spend or build your company if you don't even understand the legal framework that you're operating in, or whether laws will be enforced? And, to our earlier point, I mean, that's the larger risk, not just for companies, but for all of us that are living in the U.S. right now and across the globe who are watching this. So, I mean, I think the important point, though, to make here, Roland, is, we're going to spend a lot of time, I imagine, over the next few months critiquing what's happening right now in this administration, some of the corrupt action that's happening. But we also, those of us who know that government does have a role in this country in supporting things like strong manufacturing and supporting people being able to lead stable lives and access healthcare and be able to have families and support them, that we need to be presenting a plan for what that looks like and making the case for why government is important, because there's clearly a lot of people in our country that don't have a strong understanding of that. And until we solve for that problem, then I do think we're going to continue to be at risk for these types of moves that are, again, not about actually helping anybody, but it seems to be enriching a lot of the folks that are attached to this administration.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. And right now we're accepting investors in our $17 million round to revolutionize the future of social media. Today, for just $399, you can own 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $6.65 a share. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. While the big platforms have grown too massive and disconnected from their users, Fanbase is building a platform where creators and users truly come first. We've already raised $8.6 million from everyday investors who believe in this vision, and now you can join them. This is your chance to invest in a social media tech company with over 1 million users that is disrupting media by allowing anyone to reach all of their following and monetize their content from day one. The market is changing, big platforms are failing to serve their users, and Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now. Invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the future of social media.
You are an expert at the budget, at the numbers, especially when it comes to education. Tell our folk what's at stake.
Well, I think we're making this budget thing a little too complicated. It's pretty simple. They want to give massive tax cuts basically to the wealthy, the top 1% and corporations, massive tax cuts. They're going to pay for it by going after programs, and they haven't defined them specifically, but the outline lets you know that they're going after health care, Medicaid, Affordable Care Act, education, access to college, access to education, and nutrition programs, SNAP, school lunches, things like that. And at the end of the day, they're going to increase the deficit. Now, we saw the president up here get a standing ovation when he came out for a balanced budget. Just a couple of days ago, he endorsed this budget that increases the deficit. Now, let's get a little historical perspective. Every Democratic president since Kennedy has left for their Republican successors a better deficit than they inherited. Everyone, without exception. Every Republican since Nixon has left for the Democratic successors a worse deficit without exception. And we sit up and listen to all these pious speeches as if they're doing something. President says balanced budget, gets a standing ovation, and then they endorse a budget, massive tax cuts to the wealthy, cut health care, education, and nutrition programs, and end up with a worse deficit than they started with. If they'd just gone home, they'd have a better budget in terms of balancing. Now, I don't know, how to message that. Young people got to talk to themselves. Maybe if one of them can figure out what's going on, they can tell the rest. I'm old. But, when you got tax cuts to the wealth, unless you're making about $700,000 a year, you're not going to get much out of this. But you will lose health care, nutrition programs, access to education, and you're going to end up with the worst deficit that the younger people are going to end up one day paying. We can talk about how complicated this thing is. It doesn't seem that complicated to me. I'm against it. Now, we need 3 Republicans. People can get all worked up and get the Democrats all. Democrats are solid. We cast all 215 votes we had. When one was sick, didn't show up. We had 214 votes. We got 1 Republican, 215. They had 217. If we'd gotten 1 more Republican, it would have died on the tie. At most, we need 3 Republicans to join us. So if you're going to get people worked up, find 3 Republicans. Now, you got to find people who are going to protest in a way that will suggest to a Republican that his seat is in jeopardy.
Yep.
A bunch of Democrats yelling at him, they'd look at that and say, well, I beat you last time, I'll beat you this time. Find some others to join in and make it look like this seat is in jeopardy.
And they're about what, 15, 20 that
Harris
Eugene said, Stefanski, that's a problem for them. Stefanski's seat,
and you got plenty of Republicans in seats that Democrats carried in the last presidential election. Mm-hmm. Go and organize in them.
There you go.
And protest in those districts.
Yep.
And we've got about 20 targets. We need 3.
So here's what we're gonna do. So what we'll do is, you don't gotta give it to us right now. We're gonna get the list. So we're gonna have the list, and so we're gonna tell y'all on tomorrow's show who those 20 are, because the whole point is to stop those particular cuts.
But we begin tonight with the people who are really running the country right now. Now, Trump is often wrong and misleading about a lot of things, but especially about history. Donald Trump falling in line with President Elon Musk.
In the wake of the unsettling news that MSNBC has canceled Joy Ann Reid's primetime show, The Readout, Roland Martin and the Black Star Network would like to extend an invitation to all of the fans of Joy Ann Reid's MSNBC show to join us every night to watch Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming on the Black Star Network for news, discussion of the issues that matter to you, and the latest updates on the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief Donald Trump and his unprecedented assault on democracy, as well as co-president Elon Musk's takeover of the federal government. The Black Star Network stands with Joy Ann Reid and all folks who understand the power of black voices in media. We must come together and never forget that information is power. Be sure to watch Roland Martin Unfiltered weeknights, 6 p.m. Eastern at youtube.com/Roland S. Martin, or download the Black Star Network app. Support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. You heard what we just talked about there. Folks, I can't reiterate this enough. Listen to me clearly. I cannot reiterate this enough. When you've got technology companies running scared, when you've got legacy media not doing their job, when you've got black-owned media that is disintegrated, now is more than ever for us to have independent media that cares about the truth, that is willing to say what needs to be said. So when you support Roland Martin Unfiltered, this show, when you support the Black Star Network, you're not just supporting me, you're supporting the other shows. Our goal is to add 2 more shows this year. We want additional shows. We want more weekly and daily shows because we want to be able to speak truth to power. We want to be able to say what is necessary where other people are scared. And when you are scared, when you're looking over your shoulder, oh my God, that advertising contract is not going to come in. Well, guess what? A lot of these major ad agencies, they're not even supporting us anyway. You know, in 6 years of doing this show, Group M hasn't done a damn thing with us. Publicis hasn't done anything with us. You've got Horizon, you've got all of these folks, they haven't done jack. And so we are calling it like we see it, and we're speaking truth. And unlike some of these other so-called progressives and people who believe in truth, I'm not running around trying to kiss MAGA ass and kiss Trump's ass. I won't be going to Mar-a-Lago, not for a damn thing. And so this is about us being able to speak truth. So when you support this show and this network with your resources, it is exactly what is happening, because we are trying to build something that is bigger and broader, and actually it has the courage to say what needs to be said, even when it makes other folk uncomfortable. If you want to contribute giving Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. This is it right here. And if you are listening, simply go to blackstarnetwork.com to check it out. Also, because you want to see your checking money order, some of y'all old school, we understand that. See your checking money order to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. PayPal, R. Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. And again, folks, we've got some 4 million social media followers. If only 20,000 of our fans contribute at least $50 each, which comes out to $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day, that's $1 million. It allows us to be able to continue to build, to add these shows and do the work that's required. So your support is needed. So please join our Bring the Funk fan club today. If you've not already joined, if you have given to us in the past, please renew your commitment, because it's important that we support Black-owned media, because Black-owned media matters.
I thank the distinguished gentlelady for her tremendous leadership and for yielding. I don't really understand the fatal attraction reference, because if anyone is dealing with fatal attraction, it's between President Trump and House Republicans. As soon as he says jump, your only answer is how high. It doesn't matter whether you are hurting the American people. That's why House Republicans are marching the country on a track toward the largest Medicaid cut in American history. You hurt children, hurt families, hurt Americans with disabilities, hurt seniors, close nursing homes and close hospitals. When Donald Trump says jump, extreme MAGA Republicans say how high. That's the fatal attraction. That's hurting the people of the United States of America. And by the way, the core promise that you made last year was about lowering costs. All you talked about was how you were going to lower the high cost of living. Democrats believe that America is too expensive. Housing costs are too high. Grocery costs are too high. Child care costs are too high. Utility costs are too high. And insurance costs are too high. America is too expensive. We believe that that, in fact, is the case. But Republicans have done nothing to lower the high cost of living. No bill, no executive order, no administrative action. That's the broken promise. We were told by President Trump that costs were going to go down on day one. Grocery prices haven't gone down, they've gone up. Inflation is up. You know what's going down? The stock market. Because President Trump and House Republicans are crashing the economy in real time and marching us to a possible Republican recession. That's what's confronting the American people. And so now we have this partisan, reckless spending bill that we're being asked to consider on the floor today. Bipartisan negotiations were underway Rosa DeLauro was at the table working to reach an agreement consistent with the Fiscal Responsibility Act that was passed by Republicans and Democrats and then signed into law in 2023. But when Donald Trump says jump, extreme MAGA Republicans say how high. And he ordered the Republicans to leave the negotiating table to try to jam this far-right extremist bill down the throats of the American people. There are so many challenges with this bill, too many to detail. But let me just articulate a few. The House Republican, highly partisan, shut-down threatening bill is an attack on veterans, it's an attack on families, it's an attack on seniors. It cuts funding for veterans, including billions of dollars in funds that will be cut from veterans in desperate need of health care for people who serve this country, who are suffering from painful exposure to toxic substances, Agent Orange, and burn pits. And this bill, before this House, cuts billions of dollars in that health care that is desperately needed. That's an attack on veterans. It's an attack on children and families in America because this bill cuts funding for nutritional assistance that would otherwise be available for everyday Americans to put food on the table. When people are already struggling because grocery prices aren't going down, they're going up under this administration. And yet, this Republican bill will cut funding for nutritional assistance. That's an attack on children and families here in America. It's an attack on seniors, an attack on everyday Americans, an attack on housing, an attack on health care, which cuts funds from things like Alzheimer's research to help older Americans battle these challenges. That's what this extreme Republican bill is all about. It will hurt families, hurt seniors, and hurt veterans. The second problem, equally troublesome, is that this bill does nothing to protect Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. We've been very clear. As Democrats, we look forward in this Congress to protecting these vitally important priorities for the American people. Why is the bill silent on these priorities? Because you are trying to set in motion a chainsaw to Social Security, a chainsaw to Medicare, and a chainsaw to Medicaid. Your other boss yesterday confirmed that when he said that these entitlement programs, as he called them, they're not entitlement programs, they are earned benefits. When you start to use the language of entitlement programs, it's because you're trying to set in motion an assault on Social Security and an assault on Medicare. It's saying the quiet part out loud. We know you're going after Social Security and Medicare because you've been firing thousands of people from the Social Security Administration. You want to collapse the system. And this bill does nothing to stop that. All it does is facilitate the collapsing of Social Security by dismantling the Social Security Administration. And of course, we know what's going on with your assault on Medicaid, $880 billion. Assaulting the health care of the American people. We've been very clear. We'll work together to protect Social Security, protect Medicare, protect Medicaid. You have no interest in doing that because you want to take a chainsaw to these priorities. And by the way, it has nothing to do with waste, fraud, and abuse. As Democrats, we've been very clear. We want to build a federal government, make sure that we have a federal government that's effective, that's efficient, and that's equitable, delivering services all across the country in a manner that spends taxpayer dollars wisely. But that's not what this effort is all about. This bill will unleash fury on the American people. It will facilitate the ongoing effort that is currently underway. The average Social Security recipient in this country receives $65 a day. They have to survive on $65 a day. But you want to take a chainsaw to Social Security. When Elon Musk and his tens of billions of dollars of government contracts essentially makes at least $8 million a day from the taxpayers. If you want to uncover waste, fraud, or abuse, start there. Don't start with the $65 a day that Social Security recipients receive from their earned benefits, from their hard work throughout their entire lives. Start there. Elon Musk is $8 billion a day feeding at the trough of the American taxpayer. This has nothing to do, this bill right here, with waste, fraud, and abuse. It's all part of a broader scheme to pass massive tax cuts for billionaire donors, the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected, and then to stick working-class Americans with the bill. This entire scheme. And as Democrats, we want no part of it because we're fighting hard to make life better for everyday Americans, to make sure that when you work hard and play by the rules in the United States of America, you should be able to provide a comfortable living for yourself and for your family. Educate your children, purchase a home, have access to health care. Go on vacation every now and then. One day retire with grace and with dignity. That's the American dream. As House Democrats, we're fighting to preserve. This Republican shutdown bill does nothing to enhance the American dream. It undermines it. Which is why we are strongly opposed to this effort, part of a power grab from those who are unelected, unaccountable, unhinged, and then working at the direction of this administration, which again has done nothing to improve the economy, nothing to lower costs, nothing to make life better for everyday Americans. And this reckless Republican bill will make things worse. I was in Selma over the weekend. We had an opportunity to once again cross the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Think about the fact that John Lewis and Amelia Boykin Robinson and Hosea Williams and so many others, as they stood on that bridge, knew that there was trouble on the other side. But even though there was trouble on the other side, they believed that their cause was righteous, and it was. It was a just one. It was designed to make America the best version of herself. And we stand here today, standing on their shoulders, continuing that effort. How do we make sure that the American dream is alive and well for everyone in every corner of America, throughout every community? And that's what House Democrats will continue to fight for. That's why we oppose this bill, this effort to hurt families and veterans and seniors and children and everyday Americans. And so we're going to continue to show up. We're going to continue to stand up We're going to continue to speak up for what is right. We oppose this bill. We oppose this partisan effort to hurt the American people. And we will continue to stand on the side of bringing the American dream to life for every single American. I yield back.
In the United States Senate, 11 Democrats joined Republicans in advancing the continuing resolution that would keep the government from shutting down. Senator Chuck Schumer, just 48 hours ago, claimed that, Democrats were not going to vote for the bill. Well, then they came forward. These are the Democrats who actually stood with Republicans in voting for this. This, of course, has angered Democrats all across the country. And people have been coming after Senator Chuck Schumer because he did not hold the line. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries made it perfectly clear that House Democrats were not happy at all with what took place by Democrats in the Senate. Listen.
House Democrats remain strongly opposed to the partisan Republican spending bill that will hurt families, hurt veterans, hurt seniors, and hurt the American people. It is a false choice that Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and House Republicans have been presenting between their reckless and partisan spending bill and a government shutdown. Why are we here right now in terms of the moment that is in front of us? It's because Donald Trump and House Republicans decided to walk away from the negotiating table when there were bipartisan conversations ongoing between House Democrats, House Republicans, Senate Democrats, and Senate Republicans in a manner consistent with the Bipartisan Fiscal Responsibility Act that was passed in May of 2023. Donald Trump ordered House Republicans to walk away from the negotiating table at the end of February. House Republicans then passed a partisan and reckless bill that cuts funding for health care, cuts funding for veterans, and cuts funding for nutritional assistance to children and families. It's an unacceptable, unconscionable, and un-American spending bill. That's why House Democrats remain strongly opposed. Donald Trump orders them to walk away from the negotiating table. Step one. Step two, House Republicans pass a partisan and reckless spending bill. And then step three, House Republicans get out of town. Where are they at right now? House Democrats are here. We're ready to pass a 4-week spending bill that keeps the government open and will allow the House and the Senate to negotiate an actual agreement that meets the needs of the American people. But we do not support a bill that is designed to hurt the American people that Donald Trump and far-right extremist Republicans are trying to jam down the throats of everyday Americans.
Folks, it has been quite contentious again with what's been happening with this decision by these Democrats to vote for the bill. A lot of people actually calling for Democrats to replace Chuck Schumer as the Senate Minority Leader. Schumer and other Democrats say they were not going to allow the government to shut down. They said it could be a lot easier for Trump and Musk to cherry pick what federal employees to bring back. But there are others like Senator Cory Booker who said point blank that this is giving more power to Trump and Elon Musk. Even had Senator Raphael Warnock said he wouldn't be surprised if there's a new Senate leader for the Democrats in 2026 or 2028. Mike, I want to start with you. Again, a lot of people are ticked off. They are hot. They're upset at Chuck Schumer, saying that he caved. He didn't fight. He gave up. And then, of course, one of your home state senators, Gary Peters, who is not even running for re-election, he voted for this as well.
Yeah, Gary Peters should not have voted for it. Chuck Schumer definitely caved because on Wednesday, he said he was arguing strongly against the bill, strongly against cloture, strongly against stop and debate. And he was proposing the 30-day continuing resolution, okay, the 30-day bill, so they can continue to negotiate. It's important. So this is wrong on so many levels. Number one, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is absolutely correct. Donald Trump told House Republicans to stop negotiating with House Democrats, okay? So House Democrats were totally pushed out of this process, and that's why 213 of them voted against this in the House, okay? And this is what they were saying. This is what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was talking about last night on Jake Tapper's show on CNN. So, and then in the Senate, there's a disconnect, and you're going to see this. You're going to see this really explode. There's a disconnect in the thought process of many Democratic senators, as opposed to those in the House. Now, I understand the rules are different, but last night on The Last Word on MSNBC, Senator Jeff Merkley from Oregon and Senator Tina Smith from Minnesota were on. And Senator Jeff Merkley was saying the only leverage that they really have is leverage in the Senate, not the House. And it's the 60 vote threshold, the filibuster. He said if you give that up, then just giving more power to a tyrant, I'm paraphrasing, giving more power to a bully does not help you. They're going to keep punking you. They're going to keep mistreating you. And this is exactly what's taking place. So I think they need new leadership. Senate Minority Leader Schumer needs to be out. And also CNN reported that you have some Democrats that are privately saying that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez should primary Senator Chuck Schumer as well in 2026. I think she should as well. He's not built for this. He's not built for this fight here. This is a weak punk ass move. This is bitch assness. This is what this is.
What do you make of what you're seeing in D.C., Derek?
You know, I've been disturbed, Roland, since the 10 Democrats voted to censor Brother Al Green. I've been disgusted with some of the Democrats up in Washington, D.C. In fact, those of us here in Georgia started making phone calls and saying it out loud with our full chest that we need them to stand up. We cannot cede the tools of leverage that are available because when you do that, and listen, Roland, I mean, I've seen it on your show, case by case, when you look at who Donald Trump is, we don't need no other evidence, no more empirical data to say that he's going to do exactly what you anticipate for him to do. And so if Chuck Schumer said, well, if we allow for the government to collapse, they're going to blame the Democrats. They're going to do that anyway, Roland. And so what we got to do is come up with a new playbook. We got to, since Republicans are not showing up in their town hall meetings, then we as Democrats need to show up in their town hall meetings. And we need to explain to those Republican voters and say, that's what y'all voted for, first off. But number two, this is what we're going to do. And we don't need you to get amnesia come next year, because the bottom line is everybody's going to be negatively impacted. This guy is going after Social Security. He's going after Medicaid. He's going after Medicare. He's going after those third rails that we typically just did not touch. But by Chuck Schumer making the move that he did and them other Democrats in the Senate that voted along with him, then they need to understand that they're going to be blamed for this, because they're going to say, well, the Democrats, believed in our philosophy. They voted with us, and so they understood that we're going to impact Social Security. They understood that we're going to impact Medicaid and Medicare, and we all know the devastation that's going to occur when you do that.
I never understood the thought process, Matt. They're going to blame you anyway. So you fight for as much as you can get, and you don't give up, especially when you have the power to filibuster.
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah, you stand 10 toes down. I think Michael said it beautifully. I don't need to repeat it. We know what this is. This is fear, and this is people being bitch made, for lack of a better term. But what I don't understand as well is if you're thinking to the midterms, and if you're thinking right now that a lot of Democrats are really frustrated and feel like the Democrats just look weak, why would you take another opportunity to show how weak you are when you can push it? And you cannot cede the control, as Derek just said. I don't understand, or cede the leverage. Because here's the thing that we see Republicans do 100% of the time: exercise whatever point of leverage that they have with no remorse. Why you would not do that here, I don't understand.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. And right now we're accepting investors in our $17 million round to revolutionize the future of social media. Today, for just $399, you can own 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. While the big platforms have grown too massive and disconnected from their users, Fanbase is building a platform where creators and users truly come first. We've already raised $8.6 million from everyday investors who believe in this vision, and now you can join them. This is your chance to invest in a social media tech company with over 1 million users that is disrupting media by allowing anyone to reach all of their following and monetize their content from day one. The market is changing, big platforms are failing to serve their users, and Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now. Invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the future of social media.